Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Sri Radha. Jayo Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman. Jayo Gauranitai, 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 Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotarsha Chishimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotarsha Chishimad. His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Shri Radha Krishna Goppa Gopinath Shri Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki, Vrindavan Dham ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Jagant Kshetra Dham ki, Ganga Mai ki, Yamuna Mai ki, Tulsi Maharani ki, Harinav Sankirtan Yagya ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki, all glories to assembled devotees, All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So, welcome to Bhagavad Gita class. Thank you very much for coming. And I request your blessings so that we can together discuss the topics about Krishna and devotional service. So today we are reading from chapter 18, verse 58. Maybe you can find on your phones, or if you have a book, then that's 1858. So before we start, we just say invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so yes, 1858. So read Sanskrit. Machita sarva durgani mat prasada tarishyasi. Sorry. Atachetvam ahankaran nashroshyasi vinankshyasi. Would anyone like to recite? Machita sarva durgani mat prasada tarishyasi atachetvam ahankaran nashroshyasi vinankshyasi. Thank you. Okay. So, word for word translation. Mat, of me. Chitta, being in consciousness. Sarva, all. Durgani, impediments. Mat prasadat, by my mercy. Tarishyasi, you will overcome. Ata, but. Chet, if. Tvam, you. Ahankarat, by false ego. Nashroshyasi, do not hear. Vinankshyasi, you will be lost. Translation. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So if you could please repeat. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Quite powerful verse, right? So the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious about executing the duties of his existence. The foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxiety. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. He always looks after his friend's comfort, and he gives himself to his friend who is so devotedly engaged working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. Therefore, no one should be carried away by the false ego of the bodily concept of life. One should not falsely think himself independent of the laws of material nature or free to act. He is already under strict material laws, but as soon as he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is liberated, free from the material perplexities. One should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in the material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. No conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. But the person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopasha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So translation again, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So I was thinking that it would be nice to do it as interactive as possible. So I would like to ask you first, what do you understand by that? What does it mean to be conscious of Krishna? Krishna says here, he is making that condition that if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. So what does it mean to become conscious of Krishna? What does it mean for you?
Hare Krishna. I think thank you for opening up, first of all, the floor, for interaction. This is really nice. I feel as the Gita as it is, it's got so many layers and so many layers to this question. There are so many ways one can answer that. But what I can briefly mention is, there's a verse, I think it's at the 6th chapter or 5th chapter, is Bhoktarang Yagyatapasang Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarabhutanam Gyatvamam Shantim Richati. So if we understand that he is both the receiver of whatever that we do, like he's factually receiving that, because actually this is his energy. So ultimately whatever does is for him, because he made it, but also that he is magnificent, so that if we do things actually for him, he's reciprocating. He's not just like just asking for stuff without returning. He's not an abusive God. He's not like a tyrant, like we sometimes can paint God in such a bad picture. Yes. So what I get from that is just that if we keep in mind of these facts, and also maybe in a practical way, like actually think about Krishna, like in what you're doing, try to think about Krishna, and be aware in that moment in your mind of Krishna, whether it's just through chanting or through a photo or through looking at the deities, then that could help in reminding us of our constitutional position, which is that we're his energy, so therefore we are his natural servants. Yeah, that's my interpretation of it.
Thank you. That's really nice. So, what I understand, you understand, or what it means for you to be conscious of Krishna. You're quoting the verse which says how Krishna is actually the one who everything is meant to be offered, because it belongs to him anyway. So, in a way, we just give it back to him. We acknowledge that it's his. And but also you said that he always reciprocates. So that's also nice to acknowledge that and not to just dismiss it. It's nice to be conscious of that Krishna always reciprocates with me. It may not always be the way I'm expecting it, but he always does. And yes, that's very important. Thank you for sharing that.
Much.
Would you like to add something, Prabhu?
I think I've said many things. I'm hoping I don't repeat them. I was thinking, what came to mind was this relationship being the Abhideya Sambandha Prayojana, and that being conscious of Krishna is being aware of our relationship with him, meaning that we understand that we're his servants, and that means that we are interacting and doing our day-to-day activities in that consciousness, knowing our identity as servants, and being aware of our relationship with him, and then carrying on with our day with that in mind.
Thank you. So you're saying for you it is very important to understand what is my relationship with Krishna, that I'm the servant, he's the master, and I'm in this position of a servant, I'm acting as a servant in that relationship with him. And I think you both said that it's so important to remember Krishna throughout the day, whatever we do, and that changes the whole perspective. So that was the quote from Srila Prabhupada. He said that everything plus Krishna is Vrindavan. Krishna plus everything is Vrindavan. So that means that if we connect everything to Krishna, actually it can work both ways. If we connect everything to Krishna, then yes, then that's it. That's the goal, to always think of Krishna. Yes, so that is also how I would see that to become conscious of Krishna means to always remember him. But also I was thinking another thing is that to see everything as his arrangement. That because we sometimes something happens in our life and we are thinking, why is it happening to me? And we are not very happy. We think that this is such a bad thing, and why does God allow it? But actually, if we think, no, but this is Krishna's arrangement, there must be some reason behind it. And we can ask, oh Krishna, what would you like me to learn from this situation? Then we can really grow in the situation, and we can really become Krishna conscious in every situation like this. And in this way, we will never be morose, because we will always feel that Krishna is there, he's taking care of me. Okay, so let's move forward. So then he says, so if you do that, if you always remember me, if you're always conscious of me, which we established that it's very important, remembering Krishna. So he says, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. So what is this obstacles of conditioned life? What is that? What is actually conditioned life? Condition means it's something different from a natural state, from our natural state, right? There is some condition put on our original state. So, being in this material world, we are conditioned. We are conditioned by three modes of material nature. We are conditioned by by that three modes of material nature. Our karma is there, and we have this body, and this is our conditioning. Whereas our original state is the spiritual state. So it is said that we have to pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life. What are actually the obstacles on our path to Krishna? When we are all trying to practice spiritual life, we're trying to become Krishna conscious. And there are many obstacles on the way, right? Can you think of some obstacles that are there?
I don't know if this is just the thought that came to me that maybe the sources of misery can count as an obstacle because they cause misery. It is difficult, you know, and obstacle doesn't mean you cannot cross over it or it will just divert you from your path. It just makes it more difficult, and sometimes it's meant to make you learn. And you know, it is said there's three sources of suffering. I don't remember the Sanskrit words, but you know, the sources are natural causes. Yeah, so for the other living entities, the material, the phenomenons, as well as what's the other one?
Disaster, yeah? Natural.
Oh yeah, I've come
Like,
from within yourself.
Nature.
Yeah, so it's like these things can always crop up during the course of a day or a night, you know, day and night, every day, every repeating that. And that's what I feel like obstacles can be broken down to on a observable level.
Thank you. So you're saying that these obstacles can be, for example, these miseries that are around us always and are always distracting us from our practice. If I understood you correctly, you're saying about these miseries that come from our own mind, from our own body. So that is adhyatmika. Then the misery is coming from other living entities. Someone says to us something, you know, and our mind becomes really disturbed. We can't focus on Krishna anymore. We are thinking about how much we are hurt. Or, you know, the mosquito comes and is buzzing over my ear and I can't sleep. So this is Adi Bhautika, and then Adi Devika, coming from just natural disasters. Natural, coming from nature, from demigods actually. So yes, that's true that these are obstacles, they are the distractions. But yes, they are, but is it possible that someone cannot be affected by those miseries? Looking at, for example, you know, great devotees like Srila Prabhupada, he was in such a condition, I mean, skin and bones, lying in bed with so much pain in his body. And till the end of his life, he was still translating the literature so that we all can benefit from it. So how did he do it? What did he do? Yes.
I was just thinking, when you first asked that question, that what are these obstacles? I didn't think about that. You have these three miseries alongside birth, death, old age, and disease, and it makes sense that those are the obstacles. What I was thinking what is the obstacles, as well as what is the end goal that one is trying to get to. And I was just thinking to myself that yes, it's happiness. That's what we're all trying to get to. And it may not even be that one is aware that happiness is being with Krishna. but either way, that one is still looking for happiness, as that's the nature of the soul, Anandamaya Vyasat, that we're all looking for happiness. It's just as we're trying to practice Krishna consciousness, we understand that if we want to be really happy, that is with serving Krishna, because we're looking for eternal happiness. So I was thinking like that yes, we have these obstacles, and they are getting in the way of being always happy. It's so basic. It's such a small, the most fundamental notion that we're all looking for this, that we're all looking for everlasting happiness, but there's constantly these things being thrown at us. And then when you said that with Srila Prabhupada, how is it that he was able to conquer this? And I was thinking, yes, because one might be thinking that, yes, there are these, 7 miseries, right? The Adivik, Adibautik, Adhyatmik, plus the death, old age, disease, and birth. But we could see that Srila Prabhupada, his physical body did become old, and so on and so on. But actually, did he not attain the goal of being always happy? Even though there were these things that he may or may not have faced, but still, I'm quite confident that he was always happy. Yeah. Otherwise, there's no way that someone would leave India at such an old age, all alone, to go to a foreign country to convince people to do the complete opposite of what they were doing, for nothing else. He must have had that happiness, that bliss. And there's no way that these things were getting in his way.
So you're saying that was his... so if someone is in that consciousness, then actually all the obstacles disappear. If you have the right consciousness, then the outside world, it's just... it's like... Yeah, it's there, but it doesn't affect the person, because the consciousness is somewhere else. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So just to kind of add to what Ram Lakshmana Prabhu was also saying, so I watched that I watched that video on YouTube of Srila Prabhupada's final last moment, and it was always like a question in my head. Is like, how is he able to just carry on? And I think other than, being happy and serving, is also an element of being selfless. Srila Prabhupada, if we actually observe and look at throughout his entire life, from the beginning right till the end, he was always selfless. And when one is selfless, then comes empowerment. Because then one is no longer relying on just their own dependent skills, abilities, and capacity to be able to do things. They realize that there is a superior power. And so they lay on that superior power. Like Srila Prabhupada, when he was in the Jaladuta boat, what was he saying? Krishna made me dance like a puppet. So he was selfless once again. So when we actually take a look at his entire life, it was always a demonstration of selflessness. And when we are selflessly serving, then what it is that we're actually putting Krishna in the front. We're putting Krishna at the center. Then it's no longer about what is my convenience. Because Srila Prabhupada also wrote that in the Jaladuta boat diary. He put like, he would have just been happy to be in Radha Damodar temple. He would have just been happy just to kind of, just keep writing, chanting, hearing, whatever it is. But he was doing it under the instruction. So, yeah, just to kind of wrap it up. So he was just, under the instruction of his spiritual master, and also for the pleasure of Sri Krishna, and Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So, yeah, basically just to kind of conclude, we find happiness in selflessness. Because when you're selfless, what it is that you're watering the root, and every other aspect of one's life becomes fulfilled. Selfless service. So I think, personally, that's what kind of helps someone to kind of go beyond the whole kind of material existence of suffering, when they're selfless and they put, what is it that Krishna wants me to do? What is it that Guru wants me to do?
Thank you. That's really beautiful. And that's actually what Krishna says here, right? That we need to act the way Krishna wants us to act. And and that means we don't always know, or we can't always hear what Krishna is telling us, what he wants us to do. But that's why we need our guides, we need spiritual master, we need our teachers. And we were speaking about Srila Prabhupada. He is, so close to Krishna, and we may think, okay, what about me? I'm just ordinary conditioned soul, and how do I come close to Krishna? How do I come to this state of being completely surrendered to Krishna? So this is actually a process. It's not happening just within a day or two. And actually, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur said that there are 4 conditions for successful spiritual life, and they're quite practical advices. First of all, he said it's physical health, because yes, Srila Prabhupada could do everything, even though his health was not well, but he was not well. But we actually may judge for ourselves, when I'm not well, can I continue my devotional service? And if we can see that actually it's a big obstacle, that means I have to take care of that health. And because that is this body, this is my tool so that I can execute devotional service. And then he says mental stimulus. So Sachinanda Maharaj explained what it means, and he said that it means that the mind is always looking for some entertainment, some enjoyment. So we have to trick the mind. So it's very important that we do variety of things in Krishna consciousness. Luckily, we have so many things that we can do. Of course, the priority is the chanting and the reading, but even that, again, we can, sometimes we are chanting and the mind is restless, then we can read a little bit, or we can hear the class and then we can chant again. So like this, he said, it's very important to give this stimulus to the mind. He also gave this example that there was someone who just was a thief, and they couldn't get rid of this anartha and of this obstacle, of this bad habit. And so they came up with, and then they were devotee and they were practicing, but somehow they had this desire to steal again. So then this person just started was in the shop and wanted to steal something, but actually instead he just started to move around objects here and there, placing them in different places, just somehow to occupy the mind, distract the mind from something that he was not supposed to do. So basically we need to find a way how to trick the mind and how to bring it into control. And he said also that the third thing was social dimension, which means good relationships with other devotees. This is so important. And that was also something that Bhaktivedanta Maharaj said, right? That we should treat everyone as if that my whole spiritual life depends on how I act with this person, how I interact with this person. Because it's so important. By having good relationships with devotees, we get the mercy of Krishna, because they give us their mercy. And he said also reading the scriptures. That is again very, very important thing, to study the scriptures, especially because Srila Prabhupada spends so much time translating those scriptures, and everything is there, really. All the questions we may have, the answers are there. And by studying those scriptures, it gives us direct connection to Krishna. Okay, so yes, he says that if you do not work in such consciousness, which we said, such consciousness refers to always thinking of Krishna, doing things while remembering Krishna. He says, if you act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So what does it mean to actually act through false ego? What is this false ego? Do you know what is false? What does it mean, false ego? if there is false ego, then there must be also real ego, right? So what is the real ego and what is false ego? Does anyone know?
Okay. Well, since I have a mic, I will just offer a bit first. I was, encountered this concept of upadis and also anarthas. So upadis is like designations. Like that's also obviously like a symptom of false ego. So you kind of, that's a word that means I am American, or I'm an English person, I'm an actor, I am rich, or I am good at this, I am better than you about this because of this kind of thing. So that's false because actually you're not this body. So you're an American, you think you're an American only because you were born in this womb, in this body. And I'm better at this only because your hands and legs and ears and whatever capabilities you can conduct through your bodily functions, you're able to perform that. But you're none of these things fundamentally. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, first thing first, that you're a spirit soul. So I guess that in a simple way is that.
Yes, thank you, right. So false ego means identifying with this body. So like Coco mentioned, if I think that I am this body, I am English, I am Spanish, I am Indian, this is actually false ego because that is not who we are. The real identity is that we are the spirit soul, and that is the real ego. This is our real identity. Because we have identity, but right now it's not clear for us. And so Krishna says that if you act through false ego, that means acting through false ego means when I want to satisfy this body. Because if I think that I am this body, then, and like we mentioned, everyone is looking for happiness. If I think I'm this body, then I will try to make this body happy by trying to satisfy the material senses. But if I understand I'm the spirit soul and I'm the servant of God, then I will understand that my happiness can only come if I'm serving Him. And what are actually the ways? How can we serve Krishna? Maybe this side can now say something, of course. But do you know what are the ways of serving Krishna? Is it your first time in the temple? Yes, first time? Okay, welcome. Great, thank you for coming. So yes, actually there are many different ways of serving Krishna, but most simple way of serving Krishna is chanting this Maha Mantra. Do you know the Maha Mantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it is said in the scriptures that this chanting is the best way, actually the only way. It is said, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalonashti, evanashti, evanashti eva gatiranyata. Means that in this age of Kali, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, there is no other way, no other way, no other way but chanting these holy names of the Lord. It is repeated 3 times. There's no other way, no other way, no other way. That means that's the point. And it's because in this age we find it very difficult to just concentrate, to meditate, but this is also meditation and it's very powerful. And we can do it anytime, everywhere, together. We can sing, we can use instruments, and it's very, very powerful process. So, yes. And then we also have Srila Prabhupada's books, like we mentioned. We have many books that Srila Prabhupada translated. And that is also very important for our spiritual advancement. And then also we come together, and that helps us so much when we come together and we share this knowledge and we encourage each other how to practice. And finally, very important is diet. So diet, what is our diet? Our diet is prasadam. So whatever we eat, we offer to Krishna. And in this way, even eating becomes spiritualized activity. So these are simple things we can do for Krishna, but the effect is really immense and the life changes completely. And this is the process in which we can really achieve satisfaction and deep happiness. So, yes, in the purport, just to mention a few points that Srila Prabhupada is bringing up, he says that a person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious about executing the duties of his existence. So everyone has some duties, right? And it's very important to execute our duties. And it is said in Bhagavad Gita that one should perform the duties. Everyone has different duties. Someone, everyone has to do something. Someone has to go to work, someone has to study, someone has to cook, someone has to clean. Everyone has some duties to perform. And Srila Prabhupada says, the foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxiety. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. So that seems to be like a way how we can get rid of all anxiety. Because why do we get anxious actually?
Because we don't know what's going to happen.
Right, we don't know what's going to happen, and we don't know and why is it scary if you don't know what's going to happen?
Because well, there was like this one portion of the purport, just to reference that I think is the 9th chapter. Prabhupada is saying, a devotee is not, worried because they know already they're going back to Krishna, because that's where they're ultimately aiming for. And it has been promised since by the scriptures that, if you do this and your own experience, you begin to actually experience that, well, yeah, my miseries are no longer there. That, devoting yourself to Lord's service is the ultimate thing. So when you're worried, it's because we don't have purpose, and therefore, you're worried more about the temporary pleasures, and that will go. Of the material, there is no consistency. It's always changing, and it will always change. So we'll just be forever frustrated.
Yes, right. So we want to control. We want to control, right? We want to know what's going to happen, and we want things to happen the way we want them to happen. But what I understand, what it means here, that a person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious about executing the duties of his existence. I understand that it means that, yes, I have certain things to perform, but certain duties, but actually this is not the goal of my life. Like you said, the goal of my life is to connect to Krishna. And these duties themselves are not the goal of my life. I don't have to focus on that. Yes, I have to perform them, but I just offer the activities. I offer the result to Krishna, because many times we get very disturbed by, we are performing our duty, but then the effect sometimes is not satisfying for us. But actually, if we think that whatever I'm doing for Krishna, then the result is not anymore so important, because the main thing was that while I was doing this activity, I was thinking of Krishna, and I was able to establish connection with him. So the result is there, but we don't have to be overwhelmed by it. Would you like to add something?
Thank you. I was just thinking about the points that you're making, and like this whole thing as to what is the false ego, like what is acting in false ego, and what causes one to be anxious, and my understanding is that a person is anxious fearful of losing something that they'll enjoy. If one is naturally inclined to gravitate towards things that they can enjoy, and if there is something that's getting in the way of that or that's going to stop that, then they become anxious. And I was just thinking, like you were just saying, that if we have that mindset, even in theory, or we have that realization that I'm a servant of Krishna, and if our mindset is that rather than looking for opportunities to enjoy, to exploit the material objects or to enjoy the material objects, if we have that mood that I'm looking for opportunities to serve Krishna, like at every moment I'm looking for some way of serving him, then one isn't anxious of losing the material objects, because that's no longer there. But what they're looking for is these opportunities to serve. And I'm almost I believe that there is still that anxiety will still be there, but it's transformed, because that anxiety would have been that, I'm worried that someone's gonna finish up all the prasadam, or there won't be any hot water in the ashram or something like that. But now it's going to be about, oh no, I want to do this service, but what if I'm not able to do it, or what if there's not enough flowers to make a garland, or all these different things, all these different anxieties. Like Mother Yashoda, she has that, right? That she's worried that that Krishna won't, Krishna hasn't eaten, or he's been playing with his friends too much. She's always in that anxiety, but still she's always thinking of Krishna, She always has that, but it's transcendental.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes. Yes, very nice. So material anxiety is, will I be able to enjoy? Will I enjoy this result of my activity, or will I enjoy the activity itself? What's going to happen to me? Will I be happy? Will I be safe in this situation? So yes, and you said how there is also another type of anxiety that devotees can experience, that is transcendental anxiety, thinking, how can I do this service nicely, or will I be able to do it nicely for Krishna? So this is actually the goal, to come to this point, right? When our anxiety is to serve Krishna with full attention, fully conscious of him. Yes, and that will bring freedom from material anxiety, because the devotees, that actually there is nothing to achieve. I think also sometimes we want to achieve something through our activities. We want to have some recognition, or some we want to be maybe glorified, or we want to be accepted. We have some motive behind our activity, and then there will be anxiety. And actually it also refers to sense gratification. There will be anxiety, because that's also sense gratification, to have some acknowledgement from others. But if I don't have any goal like that, if my goal is just to serve Krishna, then I have nothing to achieve. And then the activity itself becomes satisfying, because I know that I'm not doing it to achieve anything, to impress anyone. I'm just doing it to impress Krishna. And it doesn't matter how it looks externally, but actually what it matters is my consciousness. I may, someone may do like amazing thing, but the consciousness may be not right, and then Krishna will reciprocate accordingly. But we may do a very, very small thing for Krishna, but if he is pleased with our consciousness, he will reciprocate accordingly. So it's actually, like we were mentioning before, Krishna is really grateful for whatever we do for him. And even if our consciousness is not pure, but we do something for him, to please him, then still he appreciates that.
I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned if we're identifying with this body, then we're automatically trying to please this body. But if we realize we're spirit souls, then we'll try to please Krishna. So what's the relationship between, my pleasure and pleasing Krishna? Why is like pleasing Krishna the solution to my happiness?
Thank you. It's a very good question. Yes, because Krishna is called, his another name of Krishna is called Rishikesh, and that means the one who, he's the master of the senses. So that means that actually our senses that we possess, we have them because they come from Krishna. And we are like, you can understand that we are his parts and parcels. So it's like we can use analogy of the body. In the body, the central point is we have to feed the stomach, and then the whole body can function nicely, right? So, but if I separate the hand from the whole body, and this hand is trying to enjoy by itself, it won't be able to enjoy because it's separate from the body. So in the same way, we are parts and parcels of Krishna. We are part of him. We come from him. And if we are trying to act separately from him, it's just like the hand trying to enjoy separately from the body. It won't be able. But if the hand is with the body, is actually acting is cooperating with the body, then the hand will be functioning also because the stomach is nourished and the hand can function nicely. So in this way, it's like this, that by pleasing Krishna, we automatically become pleased.
Okay, nice.
Yes, it's quite magical, but it works. Really, it works. Yes.
If I could also add to that, I was just thinking, I was hearing a lecture and Srila Prabhupada was saying that there isn't, it can be quite the word being doing a rendering service, being a servant, it has a negative connotation to it. And especially it's something that we, I think being in the West, we're always, almost like anywhere in the world actually, like you're always being told, like to kind of be independent or, have a good job or get some sort of position or something or the other. And it almost puts it into the mind that, yes, that you'll be happy when you are independent and you're in control. And
Yes.
when you're telling other people what to do or no one's telling you what to do. And so it seems like, that you can become someone, you can become the master, and being in a position of being a servant is degraded. But I remember hearing this lecture and Srila Prabhupada was saying there's no question of us being a master. It's actually that we are always servants, but we get to choose who we want to serve. Do we want to serve Krishna, or do we want to serve Krishna's energy, the material energy? Because one way or another, we have to serve something. And if we choose to think that, yes, I don't want to be a servant to Krishna, I want to be, I want to be independent, or I want to do my own thing, then one way or another, material energy is going to illusion us into thinking that, yes, you could be the enjoyer, you could be independent, all you need to do is work 16 hours a day, you don't get to see your family, people will swear at you and threaten you, and then, just because you don't have a loving relationship with anyone, get yourself a nice pet or a dog or something like that and wake up early in the morning to walk it and stuff like that, but you'll be the master, you'll be independent. Or even if you don't get a pet, you can get a nice car that, everyone's envious of, and you're constantly like washing it and maintaining and stuff like that, but still you'll be the master, but it's just an illusion. The material energy will make us think that we are independent, but we are serving mature energy. So it's like that. That if we're looking for happiness at the end of the day, mature energy will offer it to us, and we'll think that yes, I can get some happiness, and there is a small amount of happiness there. But because we're looking for eternal happiness, we can only find that being with Krishna and serving Him.
Thank you very much. Yes, so we don't have independence, but then we can choose whether I want to be dependent on the material nature, which is going to really treat me, as I act. There will be a lot of problems because of that. Or if I want to be dependent on Krishna, who is going to reciprocate with all his love that he has there. So this is what we need to decide and choose. Okay, we'll stop here because the arti is about to start. Thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur ki Jayo Jayo Gorachande Arati Kashoda
Janavi tatavane Jagamana loba Arati Gorim Brahma Adi Devagane Arati Gorim Brahma Adi Devagane Narahari Adi Kori Chamaradulaya Narahari Adi Kori Chamaradulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Gosadigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Gosadigaya Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karatala Sangha Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karatala Madhuramridanga Bhaje Paramarasala Madhuramridanga Bhaje Paramarasala Sanka Baje Ganta Baje Madhu 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 Baje Sanka Baje Ganta Baje Madhu 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 Baje Madhu Bahu Koti Chandvajini Vadana Ujvala Bahu Koti Chandvajini Vadana Ujvala Gala Deshe Banamala Kori Jalamala Gala Deshe Banamala Kori Jalamala Shiva Sukha Narada Preme Gada Gada Shiva Sukha Narada Preme Gada Gada Bhakti Gora Sampada Bhakti Vinoda Gora Sampada Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Artika Shobha Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Artika Shobha Jaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nittinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschacharashakarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktavedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktavedanta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktavedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Nityalila Pravishta Ashtotra Satasmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada ki Sakshat Vairagya Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur ki Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Sri Rup Sri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Sri Deva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sarva Goswami Vrinda ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Sri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan ki Amal Puran Srimad Bhagavatam ki Ganga Mai ki Jamuna Mai ki Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Mayapur Navadip Dham ki Shri Kshetra Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki Ayodhya Dham ki Dwarka Puri ki Shri Shri Radha Gokulanda Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman Gaurada Subhasandharati ki Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralada Lada Daine. Pralada Lada Daine. Hiranyakashipu Vaksha. Hiranyakashipu Vaksha. Shilatankana Kalaya. Shilatankana Kalaya. Itona Simha Paratona Simha. Paratona Simha. Yato Yato Yamitatona Simha. Yato Yato Yamitatona Shiko Danobrinda Kesharadrika Narayota Jaya Jagadisha Jaya Jagadisha Jaya Jagadisha
And then we have to send Panchami.
That's on Panchami today? No. That's the first day of spring.
Yeah, but that's technically it's on the Vedic calendar. But like it's today, but obviously it won't apply to us until March. That's why it's like that. So actually, our version.
Where's the Manor calendar?